War is an expensive thing, but when it comes to our countries like Uganda, it becomes extremely important to see the pain pangs of a war like the Iran war, and especially that the way it's impacting all the different Gulf countries. Now, for the last 3 months, the UGX was strengthening against the dollar, as you might see. In 6 months, actually, when you look at 1 year, at one point in April 2025, the UGX was 3,660 to the dollar. And throughout 2025, the UGX was strengthening considerably for the for the last 8 9 months, where it reached the bottom of 3,423 in October, with significant macroeconomic pressures that were being implemented by Bank of Uganda and the Ministry of Finance, and also with coupled with significant exports earnings. That's the dollar earnings for our coffee as a country. We breached last year. We breached over $2 billion plus dollars in export earnings. That was also a desire, an increase in export earnings from gold for the country. And you can see between March 2025 to October 2025, the UGX was gaining, was appreciating against the dollar. Then towards the election period, the UGX kind of regained something. So when you look at the last 3 months, from October, September to December, it moved away from the 3,400 lows, which it had appreciated to, and it came back to around 3,500, and it stabilized throughout December and Jan. And that was okay because there was not so much volatility, nothing was significantly happening, so you could easily predict what was going to happen to the UGX, to the dollar. Our dollar inflows were increasing. There was a little bit of a shock towards the election period, because sometimes every time there is an election period in a country like Uganda, you would expect a little bit of a freeze in capital inflows into the country. But after the elections, you can see we started getting the downward pressure to 3,500. You can see in the election period, we are in 3,600. Exactly after the election, we are back to 3,500. There was that pressure. Then something happened. The last week. Last week, a war starts in the Middle East, and the problem is we thought it was going to only impact Iran, but it spread very, very, very fast to the other Middle East countries: United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar. The capital inflows from those countries to countries like Africa stopped. But the most important thing that happened is this: there is a significant reduction in oil outflows out of the Middle East countries. And the pressure by oil importers to buy dollars right now to stock up significant amount of oil into the country, but not even into the country, across the different regions. That means there is a significant demand for the dollar right now across the region, across the global space. One, to make sure that, because at the end of the day, majority of the deals that gets executed are executed in the dollar, so there is significant demand by importers of oil and everything. But two, for Uganda specifically, there is almost every single week there has been significant exports of oil, of coffee and gold and other exports, which is one of the biggest our foreign exchange earners. Now, the last 1 week, all those have almost come to a standstill as we monitor the situation. Now, today we are waking up to where the dollar, you can see the UGX has depreciated from as low as 3,580 10 days ago on February 2020, on February 24th, 2026, to now 3,760. You can see that is a significant depreciation in the UGX to the dollar. And it's not stopping. One day alone, we have moved from 3,600 to 3,770. That's almost 80 shillings loss. And that kind of volatility is not good for the economy. That means a country like ours, who are a net importers of oil, net importers of goods and services, with this kind of volatility is priced in, then you start having to, we're about to start experiencing the cost inflation. Inflation that is pushed by the cost of goods we bring into the country. The problem is it's coming at a time when even our exports, I believe, right now are starting to have what we would call the supply chain disruptions. The supply chain disruption where they cannot export at the pace they were exporting on, because majority of the flights had been suspended for a while. Majority of our flights, our regional hub has been Dubai, where our gold goes to, and majority of the things. Actually, when you pay attention to Uganda, Dubai is our biggest foreign trade partner with China, with Dubai being on a standstill because of the war. That means Dubai, I'm talking about United Arab Emirates as a country, that means all of a sudden you are not bringing in enough dollars, and also the outflow with the pressures to buy the dollars right now, whether in Uganda by the importers, or whether outside Uganda for the people who are trying to buy out the dollars to invest in especially the oil importers. That tension alone is what is causing one of the biggest squeeze we are seeing. And at this point, we don't know how long that war is going to happen and how much price is going to be for it to, the squeeze that's going to be to the UGX. So you should prepare. This is one of those measures where you tell people prepare in advance, because the war is here. The impact will be felt by so many people. Will Bank of Uganda do something about it? Will they kind of curb this depreciation to move from 3,500 to 3,700? That's 200 shilling loss for the people who import, the importers especially. That means they needed 3.5 million to get to $1,000. Now they need 3.7 million. That is significant loss. Now imagine if someone needed $1 million to import certain things into the country. What they needed 3.5 billion 2 weeks ago. Now they need 3.7 billion. UGX. That level of depreciation, that level of cost inflation that is pushed because of the depreciation of the UGX to the dollar, it's hard, it's painful, that will be felt by so many. And the problem is that is us. Uganda, we are a net importer. Now, of course, for the exporters, if they can get the supply chain moving, would be making money. So this is a situation that is squeezing us on both sides. If the exporters could export the things, they would be making money, because it means for everything you could export and you could get $1,000 where you could get maybe 3.5 million, you could be now getting 3.7. Unfortunately, it's not happening because of the supply chain disruptions on Indian Ocean and everything. And our biggest export trading partner, United Arab Emirates, is suffering from it. Now, of course, those in the diaspora, the diaspora remittances are making some good money here if they send money back home, but that's the smallest element. I was talking to a client of mine in Dubai who said, yes, we are seeing the dirham is getting better to the dollar, but to the UGX, but our cost of living is increasing. Everything we were buying cheaply 2 weeks ago, now we can no longer do the same. Now everything has gone by almost 10% in the same period. So there is no winner in this kind of squeeze. There is no winner in this kind of squeeze. And it's just starting. That geopolitical tension, we want it to happen as soon as it can happen. The earlier it stops, the better. Now we know the Bank of Uganda, the good thing with the Bank of Uganda, it had prepared with significant foreign exchange reserves, but that is also s- how much can they kind of create the stability to remove the tension that is happening to the UGX right now. If they can do it, that will be very good. If they can do it, that will be very good. But at the point right now where we are seeing that disruption, we are yet to see what's going to happen.